Hey guys, I'm Nick, and today we're going to go catch some channel catfish. It's late September here in Wisconsin. The weather's really starting to cool off now, and there's nothing I like more than a nice hearty chowder. Catfish are a great option for making these kind of dishes because they are usually in ample supply, easy to clean, and their meat goes a long way. So let's get the archery equipment swapped out and get ready to go catch some fish. Okay, I cheated a little bit because I already had the fishing stuff in here. Let's hit the road. We got about an hour drive ahead of us to grab bait and get to the spot. And then we'll be fishing. So we just gotta crank up the old reliable 99 Malibu. We're on the road, baby. Night crawlers acquired. They didn't have any other bait besides small fat heads. Maybe we'll catch a bluegill or something. Otherwise, I'm sure we can make it happen with just these worms. That's what worked last time we were out this spot. I'm gonna get out there, get some lines in the water, and see what happens. Hopefully some channel catfish or some bullheads. Any substantial white meat, kind of flaky, is good for a chowder. You just don't want something that's too much of a crumbly kind of meat. Just doesn't hold together for you. Okay, it's 10:40. We've arrived at our spot here. Got one line in the water, and I'm gonna show you how we're rigging up today and what's been working for us the last couple times we've been out here. Okay, so what we've got is a heavy main line. This is 30-pound braid, and on that I've got a 2-ounce egg sinker. You don't really need this much weight where I'm fishing. It's just out in the main lake, no current or anything, but this is my normal rig, so I didn't bother changing it up because this works just fine. I always tie a bead below my weight so that that weight's not bashing into my knot, and then I always tie just a barrel swivel below that. That way I can change out my rigs with my hooks for different applications. So in this case we're going for a little bit smaller catfish. So I took off my big hook and I'm going to clip on this other rig here. So I just have my leaders tied to a snap swivel and just a short, about 6 to 8 inches of line. And then I think this is a 1/0 hook. Small, not super small. So if we're getting a lot of short bites, I might downsize on that. The one that I have out right now is a much smaller hook. And the last rig we're going to do a slip bobber, also to a worm, and see if that drifting around gets a little more action. So just take this, chuck it out, it sits on the bottom, and when the fish picks it up, it's able to pull a line without that weight giving them the feel, and set the hook. Okay, I lied earlier. I was going to put out a slip bobber on my smaller pole, but I apparently, in my haste of packing, didn't grab my bobber stops, so we're going for another bottom rig. Same deal. Got a shorter leader on this one and a real small hook. Just gobbed it up with worms. So I'm going to cast this one out a little shorter. And this one's going to have a bell on it instead of a bait alarm. I got these bait alarms. They work out really well. They're much louder, I find. They seem to be not quite as sensitive, but sometimes that weeds out wind and current and waves and stuff versus your normal bell. But this works just fine, indicates your bites. It costs about $1 each, sometimes less if you find a good deal. So they both work. We'll see what happens. No bites yet. Well, it's been about an hour, no luck so far. So I took one of the rods, moved over to the other side of the peninsula here, and then I'm gonna reel these two in here, check the bait, make sure everything's good, cast them out again to a different location, and see if anything happens. A little bit of a slow day, but we'll see. Stay tuned. Alright, it's just past 1 o'clock here. Still have not had one bite. Moved the lines a couple times. Tried one on the other side of the peninsula. Still nothing at all. Not even a jingle. That wasn't even there. I'm gonna pick up and see if we can't find another spot. Give it a shot somewhere else. Okay, nothing happened at the other spot, so we made a move down here to the dam. We'll see if anything happens here. Okay, it's 2:45. 0 bites in my new spot. Had to replace one bait. I don't know if something was messing with it or if it just got worn out and fell off, but no luck today. Looks like we're gonna shift over to some halibut footage and have to use that for the catch and cook. So, I mean, it's kind of still the same thing. Stay tuned. So this footage is from my honeymoon with Mariah back in July of 2021. We had the opportunity to go to Alaska for a full week. We got to see a lot of beautiful things and take a charter trip out for some halibut, which was absolutely awesome. Unfortunately, the audio didn't work on the camera during this trip, but we were still able to capture some great scenes here. So we're going to use halibut for this chowder recipe, and it's a good substitute. It's a nice firm white fish, and it fills in nicely for catfish. A little bit more expensive if you didn't have the luxury of catching it on a trip. So to prep this recipe, melt some butter over medium heat and add the chopped up celery, carrots, and onion. Cook that until it's tender. Stir in flour and pepper until it's blended, kind of making a roux of sorts. Then you gradually add the milk, broth, water, and chicken base and bring that to a boil. Once that thickens a little bit, then you can add the potatoes, corn, and bay leaves and return it to a boil once again. And then simmer it until the potatoes are cooked fully. And the last thing is stir in the cream and the lemon juice, add the halibut, and cook it until it's done. It's a delicious recipe that I love making. Here's the recipe that I go off of, and I've made a few changes from the original that I found in order to suit my taste. So feel free to play around with it in whatever way you like. I'll also put this down in the description of the video to make it a little bit easier for people to extract it for their own purposes. But I highly recommend this. You can use any fish that you have access to. Catfish works great if you have the luxury of catching some on the day you try to. But I'm sure you'll love it, and I look forward to everyone enjoying this with their friends and family and passing on a great recipe to more people. Take care, everybody.